Welcome, Irish fans, to the first edition of the 2016-17 season of the Jack Swarbrick Show. Last season, we made a special effort to showcase as many of Notre Dame's terrific student athletes as possible. Included in this initiative was our first ever student athlete co-host, football captain, and linebacker, Joe Schmidt. Last season was such a success, we are going to expand this initiative this year with multiple student co-hosts. So joining Notre Dame Vice President and Athletic Director Jack Swarbrick on this opening show of the season are two student athlete co-hosts, Notre Dame football captain and linebacker James Onwualu, and the young woman expected to be the ace of the Notre Dame softball pitching staff in the coming season, who is also a member of the 2016 ACC All-Academic Team, Rochell Nasland. Later in the show, our trio will be joined by Notre Dame football captain and defensive lineman Isaac Rochell and Notre Dame volleyball coach Jim McLaughlin. But first, Jack, what do you say we get to know our new co-hosts a little better?
Jack, thanks so much. It's great to start a new season with the show. Thrilled to have two really great representatives of the university join me this year. But I got to tell you guys, I can hear it already. Schmidt saying it took two people to replace me.
Oh, I know. Once he figures out that I'm on it, I'm going to be getting texts all day.
You'll probably, you'll be getting them by Saturday, surely, yeah. But this is not about needing two people to replace Schmidt, who largely replaced me last year. He sort of it became the Joe Schmidt show by the time we were halfway through the season. It's about exposing even more of the great young people who are at this place and who make Notre Dame such a special place. So I do want to take the beginning of the show to get to know both of you a little bit better. So, Rachel, let's start with you. Hometown?
I'm from San Diego, California.
What's the family like? Siblings?
Yes, our family is a little bit hectic. There's four of us. I have an older sister who lives in Chicago, an older brother who's back in San Diego, and a younger brother who's in high school in San Diego as well, and living with my parents back there. Are
they all as athletic as you?
They like to say they're more athletic, so they rub that in my face, and they have still yet to hit off me, though, so that's always a bet in my family.
You know, James, I think this will be a segment for the show. We see if we can foul one off on her.
Oh, I've been out there before.
We get into the cage.
He snuck onto our field, actually.
We've done some home run derbies out there before.
Is that right?
I'd be happy to get back out there.
I'm too afraid to pitch to him, though.
We got to get him to sign a waiver, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Coach Kelly might not let me go out there.
maybe in the spring season.
You'll be the Tim Tebow of Notre Dame, right? Tim's trying out for the major leagues now at the age of, 29, I think? He's
trying to do it all.
Interesting not having done it for a long time to do that. Why Notre Dame?
I first visited Notre Dame when I was in 9th grade for a camp, and I fell in love with it immediately. It's kind of one of those dream schools that you fantasize about when you're younger, with all the different quads, and it's so enclosed, and it's such a community in itself. It's like its own little city. So I loved that when I came here. You could see the family and tradition that was evident like everywhere.
You sort of knew it back then?
I knew it right away, yeah.
Was that your experience, or a little more conflicted?
Mine was a little different. You know, I had Michael Floyd, who had just broken pretty much every record, and a lot of the greats that came from my high school came here. So I wasn't sure I wanted to follow in everybody else's footsteps, but, you know, came out here and visited Floyd a couple times, spent some time out here, and can't really help but fall in love with it. So,
where else did you think about going?
I was thinking Stanford. Ended up being a little bit too far. Wanted my brother and my mom to be able to come to the games, and you know they make pretty much every home game now, so that means a lot to me. And I was also thinking Michigan, but
no,
didn't work out. It didn't work out. So
for the better.
So we try and keep it quiet around here, but Stanford's my other alma mater.
Oh yeah,
that's where I went to graduate school. So fondness for both places. Tell us about your family.
So I have my mother. That's who I grew up with. She's still in St. Paul, Minnesota. Ann Perry. Gotta love her. She's the one that's been supporting me at every game pretty much, and made me who I am. Then my brother, who's working in New York City, doing the whole Wall Street thing, John, who's also a huge fan. He's made 11 games last year, I think.
Oh, my goodness.
He's all over the country trying to compete with you to get to all the football games. So.
He'll certainly be at the Meadowlands for the Syracuse game.
Oh, absolutely. He's already told me to start collecting tickets from my teammates, so he's bringing the crew.
Now, in sort of the life of students who are athletes here, do you guys intersect? Do you get to know each other? Do you travel in the same social circles? How does it work?
James and I go way back to the bridge program before freshman year. We became pretty good friends then and stayed pretty good friends throughout then with a lot of class lapovers.
Yeah, I think early in the years you start having, you're getting put in a lot of the electives with other athletes. So you get to meet each other and be around each other. And then, our development and different groups do a great job of, doing a bunch of different athlete things. We have a barbecue the other day, so we were all out there eating together, out in the baseball a lot. So we all see each other.
Has it gone by quickly?
Way too quick. Way too quick. It's weird the first 2 years. I feel like you keep saying, like, oh, it's not passing me by. Like, I still have 2 more years left. And it's right when you're in your junior year and it's coming to the second semester and you're just like, oh, my gosh, I'm coming up on my final year. And that part comes really quick.
No doubt. I've been telling younger guys that they need to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to grow up way too fast, and it just goes by so fast that you got to enjoy it all. So,
how's it different in being senior, trying to help lead the program? Do you look at yourself different? Do you approach what you do differently?
For me, I feel as if as the time goes on, you start feeling more comfortable with your role. So once you can kind of put aside that, you can start helping others and trying to infect people around you with, the culture and what you're trying to get accomplished, because your individual goals won't be accomplished unless the guys around you are all, successful as well. So I think that's really the difference, trying to focus on some other people's games and improving people around you so that the whole team's successful. I don't know if it's the same in softball.
No, I completely have to agree with that. I think as the years come on, you become more and more comfortable to fall into your role, and it really gives you a chance to reach out to other teammates and be able to kind of be an inspiration and be able to help them out, because we all have been there in tough situations, and it's easier now looking back to reach a hand out and stuff. And it's funny because every hard situation you come across, it's like, oh my gosh, this is the hardest thing that I've had to do. There's always a new hard thing. It's always the next hardest thing. And then as soon as you accomplish that and you got over that little hump, you're like, oh, that's a breeze. And so it makes it easier to be able to sit down and talk to teammates. Yeah. But I think too, throughout it, like, you just have such a higher appreciation for everything. Not that you don't appreciate it in the beginning, but you just realize how important this Notre Dame community is, and you don't get that everywhere.
Yeah.
And so you get a greater understanding for everything that, like, Notre Dame stands for, and so I think that's a really great thing that I think you have to learn kind of each year.
I'm definitely starting to feel a little bit old, though. Locker room. You start seeing some of these guys come in early, and you're like, sheesh, that was me 4 years ago. Like, it's crazy, but I'm not as old as some of the guys on the team, so that's all right.
Reggie, what may be my favorite statistic for our football team going into this year is that the receiver with the most games started is our outside linebacker.
Yeah, exactly. Somehow I got lucky. They put me in the game to start the game. I don't know, freshman year, but yeah. It's a crazy stat. I don't know how. I mean, Torrey's such a great player. I guess we had a bunch of great receivers last year too, so I'm sure he'll be racking up the starts.
He lost some time to injury, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's not get to know you without getting to know the academic side of you. What are the majors?
I'm a psychology major with a minor in business and a minor in constitutional studies, so I'm a little all over the board.
Mixture.
Wow, you're going to be a really rich lawyer.
That I hope so. I wouldn't be mad. I would not be mad about
psychology and business.
Business major, business lawyer, maybe. Yeah.
And I'm just a finance major. I don't have any minors. Just been focusing on finance.
He says just a finance major, as if it's one of the easiest majors at the school in the business school of Mendoza.
Yeah,
it's been challenging, but.
You're going to miss some. You're going to miss some really great new digs by about a year. The psychology department's going to be located in the east building of New Crossroads.
I know. I'm so disappointed. I used to have to hike out to Hager Hall, and it's going to be right here in the new facility. Some of our teachers joke about, like, we're not sophisticated enough for this new building. We've been used to this. We've gotten used to these small lecture halls and stuff.
Yeah, it'll be cool having some classrooms in there.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
It's a really important representation of what we believe in.
Absolutely.
Right, that you take your most important athletic facility and
Put them together.
use it for academics and career services and student recreation and a whole bunch of functions. And I love it. I love the way it looks. It's great.
It's going up fast too.
It's going up very fast.
I don't know if you were here this summer, but even throughout the summer, they were working all day long, all night almost. I mean,
well, I was traveling. I was in Rio for the Olympics and got back, and I came by the facility. I said, "Oh man, how are we going to be ready in 2 weeks?" And it's amazing. All of a sudden, everything's gone. They're paving. It's going to be ready to host people. Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's like a miracle overnight.
Yeah. We have of course, a very keen sense of what James's fall is like. But for a softball player, what's the fall like?
We're pretty much in season without games. So take the hours you're playing for games in the spring, and we're really just applying that to practice. And this is where we kind of come back from our summer break. Not all of us have to be here over summer. Many of the underclassmen choose to for a lot of really great beneficial reasons. But we really just hammer down in the fall, and this is where we really work as a team, playing together and working on our strength and conditioning and skills. So we get a lot of our work done during this period right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much do you really practice during the season, right? Because you guys are always gone, I feel like.
Yeah, during the season it picks up a ton, and a lot of those hours really go towards, we're playing 60 games in a season, 60 plus.
Yeah.
And so we have to kind of take back our practicing hours just so our bodies can keep up with a lot of the games.
Do you ever give James a hard time about there's a little difference in the way he travels to games and the way you guys travel to games?
Yeah. I heard a few football players are complaining about missing like one day of school.
Complaining. I don't think anybody's complaining. I don't think anybody's complaining.
So yeah, we because we travel so much, just because we can't really play outside at this point in the spring. So we are going to a lot of the warm places, which is really nice. So a lot of times we spend a longer majority of the week in California, which is nice. I get to see my family too.
Yeah, but for those who think it's all glamour, right? I mean, if you're going to Blacksburg, Virginia, for example, it's a bus ride to Midway. It's a Southwest flight to some connecting city, and then in there, and then it's another bus ride. I mean, it's a challenge, isn't it?
It is, and I think going back to how things have changed throughout the past few years, each year it gets easier. You kind of get used to the traveling schedule. You get used to studying on planes or buses. So
it's much different.
We spend a lot of time on buses because we do fly out of Chicago, and we fly everywhere. So yeah, you get used to it, and it gets easier with each year. So it's not too bad. And it's a lot of fun team stuff. Like, you're together all the time. You go through a lot of funny, sometimes stressful experiences that we look back on and laugh now, when we were stuck in the airport and
you guys have had
flight was delayed, right? And then it's canceled. We're thinking of busing a couple 10 hours.
A couple 10 hours.
Well, we'll have lots of time during the course of the season in our shows to get to talk about the softball program in greater detail. But I got to ask, how are we going to be?
We're going to be great.
I thought so.
Yeah, no doubt.
During the time you've been here, we've been pretty great.
Our team, each year, I think gets better, to be honest. Yeah. We have great girls coming in. Our freshmen already are strong players. So I'm excited to see how we do against our competition. And
James, we're excited for the upcoming weekend. You must be ready to hit somebody else.
Absolutely. I'm sick of going against McGlinchey and all those guys, tackling Tarian. I need some new color in my life, so I'm excited to get down there and play somebody else, you know.
How's the camp been? How's the preparation been?
Camp's been good. I mean, it's nice to get off campus, get away a little bit, get away from the distractions, just be straight team and work there. So it also splits it up a little bit. You get down there, you work for a week, then it's kind of a mental block that you moving on to the next section of camp. So it's been good. I think that especially the defense has gotten a lot of work in, focusing on really our game plan throughout the year. So it's been a lot of good work. But like I said, ready for a game.
Yeah, well, I think we all are now. We take off Friday night, right?
Yeah,
and,
right after practice.
A little different schedule because we're down there 2 days before game time.
It'll be nice to get a practice in on Saturday, though, too. Maybe get used to the heat. My mom is telling me that it's going to be raining, so that could help out a little bit with the heat. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, we'll get used to it and let some of the younger guys settle in and get rolling.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be 91 or so at kickoff. So during the game we get into the 80s. That's what we're used to.
There you go. Yeah.
It'll be just like normal.
Well,
I can't thank both of you enough for agreeing to do this. I hope you enjoy it. I hope we have a fun year. And for our listeners and viewers, part of the concept here is it'll be a little bit of a movable feast. There'll be an occasional time where I can't make it, and you two are in charge.
Scary.
There may be a day you can't make it, and we'll do another pairing, and we'll do that with the interviews too. So sort of move in and out of this, and I think it'll give us an opportunity to do some different stuff, and I hope it even gives us an opportunity, when you're traveling or with other people, where we'll give you something to record it with, and you can do some on-the-road interviews and bring them back to the show. And
Sweet.
I just think it's going to give us a much bigger, broader look at Notre Dame athletics. So thanks to both of you.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm excited.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk to one of James's running buddies on the defense.
Stepping onto that field, you got your teammates rushing around you, fans, the bright lights. It's incredible.
The shot from McGowan, and she scores!
And we know that there's no easy games throughout the season. Every game is going to be a fight.
Great footwork. Little makes the diving save.
It's like this team is a family. You're playing for something that's bigger than yourself.
Our first guest this week was just named a captain of the 2016 Notre Dame football team, and it's an honor he has earned on and off the field. Defensive lineman Isaac Rochell is the leading returning tackler on the Notre Dame squad with 112 stops, including active career team highs of 15 tackles for loss and 3.5 sacks. Off the field, it is always fun to talk with Isaac, not only because of his outgoing personality, but because he is majoring in political science. So he is a gentleman that actually welcomes the opportunity to talk politics these days. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thanks. Welcome, Isaac. Thanks for joining us today. We got the captains on the defensive side of the ball with us. So the obvious place to start is, how are we feeling? How's the defense going to be, guys?
I feel like we're going to ball out. I mean, I think we feel good. Everybody's confident. And a lot of the young guys that are going to have to play are feeling good about everything. And I feel like we've just been getting better and better. And so we're where we need to be.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, practices are getting cleaner and cleaner. Yeah. Obviously, we've had a little bit extra time just rolling transition from camp to preparing for the season. So we've gotten a little extra time with Texas, which has helped.
Yeah.
Just simplifying the game plan and getting ready.
One of the things that, of course, is I get to know all of you guys and your teammates, that you wind up very vested in what happens next, right? And I love the success that your teammates from last year are currently enjoying as they try and make NFL rosters.
Yeah.
The Giants tell us that Romeo is knocking it out of the park.
Matthias
has been doing great. So it seems to me that it speaks to how well the system must prepare you for, that next stage of football.
Yeah, I think that we cover a lot of different areas, a lot of different systems within not only college but also the NFL. So understanding a lot of those different systems, you can plug and play. Like Sheldon last year was playing a bunch of different positions that he probably wouldn't have if we just played a base defense. And, Isaac is going to do the same thing, and I have a couple different roles as well. So as long as you understand the systems, you can play with the pieces and move them around, which is fun.
Yeah, and I know even Romeo says when he's talking to coaches, a lot of the terms, everything we use, it's the same in the NFL. So it's given him a huge advantage going into the meeting rooms. Pretty much already have an idea what's going on.
Yeah, that's great. So of course the countervailing argument that you hear sometime, or you hear a lot from fans and others, is the system's too complicated. Mm-hmm. You have that view?
It takes time. I think it takes time. I mean, every year, even every meeting, I feel like I learn something or I'm like refreshed of something. Because Coach Van Gorder always, he's always working something up in his mind, so you're always learning something new, and it's difficult, but, it's something that you need to spend time on and work with other people. I think that it's really helped this year that we have some guys that have been in it for some years, so we have more player-on-player teaching. Like, Isaac really has helped out the D-line and has been able to explain in, like, player terms what some of this means, opposed to just having to go to a coach who may have different talk or different language with it all. So I think that helps.
Yeah, and ultimately we're at Notre Dame. We got a locker room full of really smart guys.
Really smart guys, yeah.
We wouldn't want it to be super simple because we can handle a bigger load and a more complicated defense. And I think we've done well with what Van Gorder's given us. So, I mean, I wouldn't change anything about it.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's, I sort of like this year, we got at each of the three levels of the defense, you got some real experience, right? I mean, you got you two guys, Drew in the back end, who have been in the system for a while and know it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have Cole Luke back there.
Yeah, Cole.
I mean, he's been doing it for a long time, and even some of the younger guys have been in the system for a couple years. And just the way it works logistically, we've been able to install it a lot with spring, and then over the summer we installed it, then Van Gorder installed it. So, I mean,
even with some of these younger guys, like even if they hadn't played, the good thing about our young guys are that they're so invested that even if they're not, first or second string, they're still involved in our game plan. They're still helping us in the, film room, seeing what they see. They're still very involved. So it's not like, Niles, who's coming back, played some his freshman year, but it's not like he just took the year off. He was still, putting time in and being a student of the game. So it helps them prepare, when they do get their opportunity.
Now, we're first games of the season always create some uncertainty. I mean, you've got only last year's tape to look at of your opponent. We're likely to see. We don't know who will see quarterback for Texas, but may see two quarterbacks. How does that impact your preparation?
I mean, reporters have been asking me that. Everyone's asking that, and ultimately, we don't change what we do. No. I mean, even when we're going against our offense with Malik and Deshaun, we don't just change what we do when they switch out. I mean, we're going to do what we're going to do no matter what. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, our offense gives us pretty much every look, including the two-quarterback system.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we practice against so many different looks. It's just like we go out and do us, focus on our job, and, I don't think much is going to change depending on the quarterbacks.
What do you think are the defensive keys in week one for us?
I would say physicality, one, just because their backs, a lot of inside run, just making sure our D-line is going to be right, our linebackers are going to be right, just, stopping the run.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge key, at least for our two positions.
Yeah, and then I've been saying this since camp started. I think one of the bigger things is going to be getting these young guys who haven't played, letting them know that they're fully capable of dominating and playing really well. Because I think if they play well, they play fast, and they play with confidence. I mean, there's not an offense in the country who I think can do anything against us. We just have to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Talk to us a little bit about your position coaches. Guys I get to see work every day, and two great guys who have different styles, but both teach the game. So,
very different.
Let's start with Keith.
Yeah, Coach Gilmore. I love Coach Gilmore. I mean, he's like a dad, and he does a good job of keeping guys calm, especially young guys who are going through a lot, whether it be school, learning the playbook. He keeps everybody just kind of calm, and I think a lot of it is just because he's calm-natured, and it keeps everybody, level-headed. And he's done a great job of developing guys. I mean, I know in the last 2 years since he's been here, personally, like my pass rush has gotten way better, technique, everything's gotten way better, and I just think he's done a great job.
And Mike?
I mean, he's a little more, not as relaxed, I'd say, but he likes his things how they're supposed to be, which is great for the linebacker position. Is exactly what we need. But at the same time, we sit in the film room and we joke around, and I sit right next to him during full defensive meetings. And, he's a great guy. I mean, he has us to his house. He really will text us about, different classroom stuff. He's a great guy. But on the practice field, he's serious, and he couldn't ask for any more. He expects a lot of us, which you want, and we're all in it together. And he really makes that clear that we're out there working together. We're working to be the best linebacker unit in the country, and he's a part of that. So.
Yeah, I love, I think one of the things that really benefits college programs is when you can have continuity in coaching.
Yeah.
And so it's been nice to have complete continuity this year in the coaching staff. Everybody's back for this year. But I'm also struck by how different the styles are across the assistants, right? I mean, you just go person by person, and you get a real interesting mix of styles.
Oh, yeah. Then you go to DBs, and Coach Light is like a player. I could see myself playing with Coach Light, like, still to this day. Like, he talks to him just like a player. Like, it's all different, but I think we have a really good mix going on right now.
Coach E stands low key, mild mannered.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Isaac, there are few visits with prospective student athletes that I remember more clearly than yours. It was a great visit. Your folks were with you.
Yeah.
And
Steve.
Yeah. Well, and I remember that day thinking, gosh, this young man fits here.
Yeah.
He should be here. What went into the decision for you?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I knew nothing about Notre Dame growing up. In the South, that's SEC country, and that's all you hear about. And it really wasn't until I came up here because my mom was like, you should check it out, that I started to learn how intense Notre Dame is. And it was simple. When I came up here, I fell in love with Notre Dame. I mean, similar story to a lot of the guys. And I just remember coming here, doing the classic, like, normal tour, and leaving and just being like, I want to go there. And my mom said, wait a second and think about it. But, I mean, it was immediate. I came here. I loved it. I loved the family environment. I remember talking to Tuitt and those guys, loved the players. And I just fell in love with the university.
And I remember I had committed before. They were talking about, I think we both had gone on high school, like, mission trips or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, you're really going to like this guy. I actually saw on my phone, I don't have it on me, but there was some tweet about, these two kids will be friends one day. You said that in an interview. I retweeted it, like, in 2011. I saw that today. I was like,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy looking back.
crazy.
It's like, dang, I'm about to graduate and, like, that's cool.
Time's fly.
Yeah, that's amazing. As we look forward and start another campaign, it would be I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't take a minute to talk about the fact we had to deal with a distraction, as we prepared for this season. And you guys take on special responsibility as captains when something like that happens. So how do you deal with it? How do you approach it with your teammates? What happens?
I think for me, and we've talked about it as captains, is just blocking out those distractions, taking the next step, and then just tightening up the little things, making sure the locker room's clean, spending time smart on the weekend with people you care about, family, people that care about you, So, and then just, making sure we're about players, like taking care of each other, I think is the big thing that we've been focusing on.
Yeah, it's been interesting since all that stuff has happened. I feel like I've almost gotten closer with the team because it's like, look, you're not going to go hang out with somebody else. You're going to come hang out with the football boys. And we're going to chill. But one thing that I've just been pressing is trust the coaching staff. We trust Coach Kelly, and we trust what he's done in the past and what he's going to do in the future. And so whatever he tells us as far as guidance and stuff, we follow that, and it's going to pay off.
Describe your approach to leadership. I mean, it's a pretty big honor to be selected a captain at this university, and it's I would argue it's harder to get that honor here than almost any place in the country. So when it comes to you guys, what's the reaction and how do you approach it?
Yeah. Well, me personally, I mean, dealing with the D-line, James knows. I mean, the D-line is a different breed, myself included. We're different.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I would describe my leadership style as a style that's willing to adapt and change because, you have new challenges every day. And what I've tried to do and what I've been priding myself on doing is just, telling these guys that if you do what you're supposed to do, no one can block you. And, I mean, that goes for the whole team, like even the O-line, all those guys. Like if you do what you're supposed to, you can't be stopped. And I think when guys start to realize that, I can't be stopped if I'm doing what I'm supposed to, it changes their mindset and it changes their work ethic. And then you don't need to do anything. I mean, the leadership, you can step back a little bit and let somebody do what they need to do. So that's been my approach.
Yeah, and for me, I think that, the coaches have a job to do by pointing out the things that, we're doing wrong, and that's exactly what we need them to do. But for Isaac and I, it's important for us to just keep the positivity and just, like Isaac said, just telling these guys, especially the young guys, that, you're going to be like one of the best players in the country here in like 2 years, and they don't see how fast that's going to happen, and before you know it, they'll be there. But, we've seen these things happen, and, just continuing to tell these guys that, like you said, you're going to be a great player, and you're going to be playing for us on Sunday against Texas. Like, we need you to make that play.
Yeah.
We have confidence that you're going to make that play. But, just keep giving them that positive feedback, I think, is important.
Do you, one of the neat things about, I suppose, any sports team, but a college team in particular, is the mantle of leadership sort of gets passed along, right? So did you look at Sheldon and think, okay, how's he doing this, and how might I do it? And did you look at Joe and think the same thing?
Yeah, I think so. I think you definitely take things from me, Joe, and Jalen, and Sheldon as well, all defensive guys, and you say, yeah, I think that's a great move by them. Some things you're like, oh, I might have done that a little bit different, but it's personality-wise. Like you said, Joe will talk your ear off and has no shame in talking all day long. Me, it's a little bit different. Like, I might pull him aside and, say, hey, today that play, this, that, and that, let's do that a little different tomorrow. Like, I need you to pick up the speed a little bit on this, just more private conversations. But I think it's personality-wise, I think.
Yeah. And not only that, but your locker room changes. We lost a lot of guys last year, so you can't handle things the same way. And like I said, it's different. And this year we have a lot of guys that it's kind of a do your job. You need to do your job. So the leadership completely changes. But, we've had great leadership in the past, and I've definitely taken a lot of positive things from those guys. Well,
you guys are doing such a great job of setting that example. And, next year we'll be talking to somebody who has learned from what you did and benefited from it. And that's a great place to be.
Absolutely.
You guys go up against our offense every day. I love some of the one-on-one battles I watch you guys have when you do the pass rushing
every
drills.
Day.
Serious.
Every day.
I've been trying to work my way down that way. I've done some D-line drills with these guys, but the one-on-ones is a different jungle.
It's a different
You get that
jungle.
O-line over there, it's no joke.
I got to tell you, there are a lot of great battles, and everybody's doing a great job as I watch it. But the number of times Q just stones somebody, right?
He's a fridge. When they tell me to blitz the B gap, you're like, all right, I'm just going to run in the kitchen and just run in
Try to make it look nice.
I'm just going to try my hardest in there. But I know I'm running into a wall, but that's just how it goes.
He's incredible. And he is just huge.
Yeah.
Bottom line. But a good huge, like an athletic, which is the scariest part.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Yeah, well, a lot of good, and I love the competition of that, right? You're making each other better. Just finished reading a book where one of the things they looked at was the Seahawks culture in the book, and a player on the Seahawks said, "You go as hard as you can every rep in practice, because you have an obligation to the guy across from you to go hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want to make yourself better, but if you take a play off, you cheated your teammate, and I see that with you guys, right?
Absolutely.
That you really manifest that. So
yeah.
Well, Isaac, I can't thank you enough for joining us and helping my co-host get through his first interview smoothly.
Saving me, always looking out.
That was great. Good luck this weekend. We'll be down there with you and looking for you to help lead that defense. So thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a minute.
You use the crowd's energy, and it really just pumps me up, pumps my team up. Just to have your emotion tighten your stomach, gets a nervous, excited feeling, gets your adrenaline pumping.
All right, let's bring it Irish. Defense wins this game. Work for each other, play for each other.
At that moment in time, we all know that we're there for each other.
Irish on 3. 1, 2, 3. Irish!
Welcome back to the Jack Swarbrick Show. Our next guest is beginning his 26th season as a collegiate volleyball head coach, one that has seen him lead 19 men's and women's teams to NCAA tournament appearances during his head coaching career, guiding 2 of those teams to national championships. Jim McLaughlin also owns the unique distinction of being the only coach to lead both a men's and a women's team to NCAA titles. We are now 3 matches into the 2016 season for the Notre Dame volleyball team, and the squad is off to a great 3-0 start. We are delighted to be able to welcome Jim back to the Jack Swarbrick Show.
Coach, thanks for being here. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Jack.
It's that's an impressive introduction, but boy, it's sort of pressure-filled, right? I mean, it's, all those wins and the only guy to win a national championship, both men's and women's. My goodness, that's a heck of a bio.
But it's good stuff. We talked about it today, just having those expectations. And one of the things that's different about this team is, as they're getting better and they're feeling more comfortable about themselves, you start to feel a little bit more comfortable with those expectations. And I'm not one that's going to run away or hide from that stuff. It's part of who we are, part of who we want to be, and I think it's a big part of Notre Dame.
You obviously got off to a great start in the season with sweeping the opening tournament. What did you learn about the team?
Well, many things. There's lessons that you learn along the way that you have to learn, and we phrased it more as a test. We're preparing for this test, and you can't just take the test. At some point, you got to get the grades, and it wasn't a tough test, but we passed it, and so we're going to grab onto that. What we do is very difficult, as you know, and it's going to get more difficult. But if we just keep preparing, we're going to pass more tests and look forward to them. And next week will be different.
Another tournament this week, another 3 teams, is that right?
3 good teams, 3 all teams undefeated. So, the preparation just on our side has been better. You take those tests and the training becomes more meaningful. You understand as these kids store, in their memory the movements and the eye work, they also understand they have to store the mood. The brain also remembers the state of mind that you're in when you compete, and so that's really the most important thing that they can figure out. It's just part of the deal. So we train with a little bit more intensity, and when you have that, Jack, the focus is better, the energy's higher, and you retain better with that intensity. So I look forward to us playing a little bit better because of that.
From the many girls I know on your team, they are such competitors. And since you have been here, they have said they have just learned so much and have come to appreciate and love the game in a whole new manner.
Well, Rachel, you got to compete. Life is about competition, and you have to learn how to compete. But you got to put them in those situations that they have to respond to. They're learning how to do that. When you get out there and the bullets are live, it's different. It's different on game day. But they're learning the lessons. They're not afraid to compete. And they're not afraid to make errors right now, which is a good thing. But at some point, we can develop the consistency. And consistency is really about, your ability to focus and the discipline you have. And those are the 2 components that are most important. So we're getting better in those areas. But, so far so good.
What's the challenge with instilling and building a culture in a program when you take it over? I assume that's the ultimate longitudinal process, that it never stops. You keep going and building it. But what are the challenges with that?
Well, we're building a program. There's some things in place here, Jack, because it's Notre Dame. And then each team is part of that program. So, the core values, there are some pillars that we follow that are dear to us. And we have to behave with those in line. And, the best meetings are when we're in practice, behaving, being teammates, saying and doing things that make each other better. But it's a hard process. It's equally as important as anything we do tactically, technically. How we behave together, how we respond to each other. So we're learning how to do that. But we've had a leadership council. We've met with them. We're steering them. This is their team. We've given them 11 tenets. And then they're going to choose the tenets that they think they need to know and behave like. And then we hold them accountable to those tenets. And those apply on the court, off the court. And it's a pretty neat process to see them go through it and really help them become these people and players that they want to become.
That's really interesting because that sounds a lot like the culture that my coaches have established on our team, and I think it's a work in progress every year. We revisit our pillars every year, and go over what is important to our team for that year, because teams change.
Yeah, people change. That's the great thing about the sport. And you don't know, really. The NFL doesn't know. The NBA doesn't know. Major League Baseball, the drafts are never 100% accurate. So initial ability, final ability have no correlation. But I know this: culture eats strategy for lunch. And if you get people on the right page, getting the right vibe right, then you can do something very special. And the girls are starting to understand that as they get better, and they see how the culture can help everybody. And when you do something great, it's not about one person. It's about a lot of people doing a great job, great energy, and living the core values.
Well, like you said, too, it's kind of a checkpoint for the girls to hold each other accountable and live up to the standards that they choose for the team, too.
Sure. There's no fear of conflict. You got to battle together. We're going to be in some tough situations with adversity. How are we going to handle that? Well, we fall back. And then when you have problems, well, usually you're not meeting some of your values, But they've got to think deeply, because when you get successful, it's about great conditions with great mentors, but the conditions also consist of how you think. And your thoughts are tools. They have to serve you well, or you're going to make bad decisions. And it's the same thing when we're playing volleyball. You recognize something, you see it, you respond to it, and you do that over and over. But you got to understand right and wrong.
So would you attribute maybe the greatest challenge to establishing a culture like this since you've been here, or more so on the court side with the actual abilities, technical side?
Everything. We're teaching them how to move. We're teaching them how to see. We're teaching them how to think the right thoughts. Your thoughts are tools. The average person thinks 60,000, but 90% of them are negative. You can't be like that in life. And so they're thinking about that. But when you're on the edge of your ability, Rachel, you're going places you've never been. You don't stay the same. And when it gets very competitive, you better make progress or you're losing ground. But, there's frustration involved with going places you've never been. You got to deal with that. And our kids are becoming a little bit more comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes.
And you hear that a lot. One of our valedictorians gave a wonderful speech about it here at Notre Dame. And she's right. And it really applies in the athletic world, because it isn't a comfortable world. But what makes it uncomfortable and so difficult makes it so wonderful. And the gratification you get when you understand that, you can't put into words, but this isn't for everybody.
Great team performance and strong cultures depend on not only the leadership of a great coaching staff, but the leadership on the team. Where does the leadership come from on this team?
Well, we're in the process of becoming leaders, everybody. There's leaders in the classroom, leaders in the weight room, leaders in locker room, leaders on the floor. Everyone has to have some capability. But then there are people that can serve others. They work hard. They set the right example. People want to be like them. And so they carry the weight a little bit more. And we're figuring that out. So we put them in some situations. We had them fill out a 11-question sheet and rate each one of us after they had been in some situations. And it's happening. But I've seen them change in terms of their decisions. They're working harder. They're not afraid to go a little harder. We can push them a little harder. They know we got their backs. And now they're starting to take each other's back. So that's an ongoing thing, Jack. That's got to strengthen as we get into November to make the tournament.
Introduce us to a little bit of your team, some of the key contributors and people that our audience should be paying attention to.
Well, I like them all. They're all our kids, and they're all making progress. But there are some that are making more than others, and some that are learning faster. That's the pace of learning fluctuates, and we see that, and we can help them. But it started out in spring ball. Everybody made progress. We measured it. It wasn't a feeling. Feelings come and go. We had it. We documented it. We measured it. What gets measured gets managed. What gets managed gets done. And they understood that. We were very honest. We hit them right between the eyes when they weren't improving. And we challenged them, and they got better. And then, Sam Fry couldn't touch 10 feet. Now she's way up above 10 feet. and competing like crazy. I walked in this morning. There's a kid at 6 in the morning serving. That wasn't happening. Keeping records on a whiteboard. Kids are coming to me saying, hey, can we get in? And now I'm going, whoa, boy, whoa. Just stay on the plan. But those things are starting to happen. And we got a kid, Caroline Holt, who reminds me of you.
I hope that's a good thing.
She's a good kid in many ways. Just solid presence. Not afraid to stand up for what she believes, but she's going to learn. And she trusts us. And she's in my office studying film like an NFL quarterback. So they're all good, all better right now.
Well, let me ask you about a different group of women. How are the McLaughlin women doing?
Well, they're good. They're good. Margaret runs the ship. She's the head coach, and there's no questions about it. She lets me do this.
She lets you.
She lets me. And I got to be a great husband, and I got to be a great dad, and then I got to be a great coach. But my golf game stinks. And the other guys are doing good. Megan is playing hard here. She worked hard to get in here, and now she's got to work harder to absorb everything this place has to offer. And there's a lot. And so she's figuring that out. But Molly, going through the recruiting process with her, and then Merritt thinks she's the best, and I keep telling her she's got to learn how to work a little harder. But she's a good kid. She's 9.
I was at the women's soccer game the other night. It was a nice win, and I got to see her play some, and I got to battle the mosquitoes. My goodness, it is. I thought I was going to get carried off the field. It was. You can tell we've had some rain in South Bend this season.
I don't think it's ever been like this, to be honest.
No.
I feel like I'm getting eaten alive.
You are.
I am. Correction.
After the match, Teresa's talking to the team in the circle, and they're all just hitting themselves and jumping around. It was hard to stay focused.
I accidentally hit my teammate in the head the other day because I was like, oh, there's a mosquito, and I didn't know how else to help her out.
Well, Coach, again, congratulations on the great start. I hope everyone watching this video or listening on the radio will take the opportunity to come out and watch you guys. It is really an exciting, competitive team, fun to watch. I mean, as I sent you a text afterwards, what really struck me year over year was the competitiveness and resilience that this team showed in that first weekend. They're obviously fitter and more determined, but there was a resiliency to them that I just love seeing. So good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you. They're working, Jack, and if we can just maintain it and keep going, we're going to wake up one day, we'll be there. And it will be wonderful, But I believe we can do it. I think they're starting to believe it and feel comfortable with these expectations we have here. And we're making progress.
Well, keep making it, and thank you so much for all you do for those women and for this university. We'll be back in a minute.
We represent the greatest university in the world. Let's carry that pride tonight onto this field, and let's play for Notre Dame, and let's play for Our Lady. That's how we're playing today. I don't know what next week holds, or the week after, or 3 weeks down the road, but tonight, that's how we're playing this football game.
And caught beautifully. What a play! Touchdown, Notre Dame! The Irish find a way!
We have come to the end of our first ever tri-hosted Jack Swarbrick Show, and I think we'll all agree that James, Rachel, and Jack did a great job. And we're not quite done yet. After shifting a few things around, we have a little extra time to wrap things up this week as compared to last year. We hope to do that each and every week this season. So, Jack, I'm sure there's a question or two you didn't ask your new co-host yet during this show.
Well, I think that intro was partially right. James and Rachel had a good day. We'll work on my hosting, but I appreciate so much you guys doing this. Busy weekend on campus. A lot of people will be watching football on Sunday night, but women's soccer is hosting Illinois State and Missouri this weekend. 2 good tests for them. The unbeaten men's Irish soccer team, ranked 9th and 12th, depending upon the poll, heads to Bloomington this weekend for what's always a big tournament for them. They'll face Stanford in the Adidas IU Credit Union Classic. Volleyball, of course, we talked about. And our cross-country squad is on its way to Valparaiso to begin its season at the Crusader Invitational. So, as always, lots going on here. Guys, I can't thank you enough. What's the reaction to the first foray into this? You coming back?
Yeah, I think it went pretty smoothly.
I think I'll be back.
Yeah, Isaac helped me out, so
and James helped me out, so
it works out.
You guys did a great job. I do appreciate you doing this. I think it provides a sort of insight I want into a student's perspective at this university and into our athletics program. I got to say, we opened with a reference to Mr. Schmidt, and I think I got to close with one because I won't quote this person, but an Emmy Award-winning broadcaster who sometimes helps us out on this show noted earlier that the principal difference between our male student host this year is he was much faster than our male student host last year.
Somebody said that in here, but I don't know. Schmitty's speedy.
I just wanted to make sure we got that message out to Joe, who was telling everybody it takes two people to replace him. So look forward to doing this again next week. I look forward to you bringing us other students that you think will be fun to have on the show.
Recruiting.
Absolutely.
We'll go from here, and it's probably we'll probably be flying out to Los Angeles for the Emmys in the spring. Don't you think?
We'll see about that.
Maybe we can ask them to move it around my schedule.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Or we'll just do it when you guys are playing.
Live feeds from the field.
Thanks again, and thanks to all our viewers and radio listeners. We look forward to talking to you again next week, and go Irish.